Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. Today is Monday, June 26, 2017. I'm Millie Weaver, and here's what's coming up on the news tonight.
Tonight, the Trump administration celebrates another major victory against the liberal progressives as the Supreme Court unanimously rules in favor of the travel ban. Then, the loony left continues to showcase their insanity. First, a popular feminist magazine calls for white women to solve racism and white supremacy by aborting their babies.
Kill Whitey! No!
And the Huffington Post says Eric Trump's new haircut is racist. All that plus a close look at the real relationship between President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. That's up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. The key is to be aware of this attack and to fight back against it. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs harvested around the planet and then concentrated for maximum potency. I've always believed in nutrition and herbs. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by Infowars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. Visit InfowarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from Infowars Life.
Check out these amazing deals at InfowarsStore.com. 25% off BioTrue Selenium, a powerful antioxidant and back in stock Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste. Now 33% off. And while you're there, check out the Total Oral Care Pack, which combines our organic mouthwash with the amazing Super Blue toothpaste. Now 37% off. All available right now at InfowarsStore.com.
I'm Millie Weaver, and I'll be taking you guys through the news tonight. Well, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch could be facing from 5 to 10 years in prison. Now, this is absolutely amazing. Former Attorney General Loretta Lynch could be facing charges of misconduct in office. This is for alleged emails, whether they exist or not, that might be between Attorney General Loretta Lynch and the former DNC chairwoman Debbie Weiserman Schultz for improperly discussing the Clinton email investigation. Now, what's interesting here is we had heard from Comey previously about how a discussion between him and Lynch had this term used. It was saying, she said, let's refer to this as a matter, not an investigation. And that actually set Comey off as well, because it didn't seem right. It kind of spoke to the fact that she really just wanted this thing to be swept under the rug and to go away. Well, that would be pretty amazing if we actually do get to see Loretta Lynch questioned, because the Senate is opening up a probe into that. Well, another interesting thing that happened today was the travel ban. Trump's travel ban was okayed by the Supreme Court. Now, it had previously been overturned by some liberal judges who decided to become political activists rather than to do their job, uphold the Constitution, and be judges. President Trump said, as president, I cannot allow people into our country who want to do us harm. Well, now this decision was 9-0. 9 of the Supreme Court justices said that this was legal. This was legal, and Trump had every right to do so in the name of security for the nation. Now, what's interesting to note here is that a lot of leftists tried to claim that this ban was Muslim in nature and that it had nothing to do with the safety of the nation and everything to do with Islamophobia. Well, this was not a ban on Muslims. This was a travel ban. Take a look at this little chart here I put together for you guys. As you can see, the 6 travel ban countries were Libya, Sudan, Iran, Syria, Yemen, and Somalia. And these countries all have something in common. What do they have in common? They have terrorism, Al-Qaeda, ISIS. There are problems, significant problems going on where it is a threat to our national security. Now, if you look over here at the 10 highest Muslim populated countries, you can see that we have Indonesia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Egypt. Number 7 is Iran, Turkey, Algeria, Morocco. Well, notice that the only country that is in both of these lists is Iran. Now, what does that say when you have these countries who have the highest population of Muslims in them? And only one country, Iran, which is number 7, is listed in Trump's travel ban. Yet you have these liberals claiming that Trump was trying to ban Muslims. Well, then why wasn't Indonesia on Trump's travel ban? Why wasn't India, Bangladesh, and so on and so forth? Why wasn't all of these other countries? Why weren't they included in Trump's travel ban? That's because it's not actually a Muslim ban. It's a travel ban for the safety and security of the nation. Well, there's something also really interesting about this travel ban. It says here that some people can come into the country if there's a credible claim of a bona fide relationship to a person or an entity. So even family members can still bring in their relatives from those 6 countries on the travel ban, as well as universities. So liberals are making a bigger deal out of it than it really is. But you know what? Let's hear from Joe Biggs for a quick report for more on Trump's travel ban, and we'll come right back.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Joe Biggs with Infowars.com, and Americans got to wake up to great news today that the Supreme Court is going to reinstate Trump's travel ban for up to 90 days, and then we'll reconvene and listen to arguments from both sides in October to find out if this should go into effect full-time. So this is good news. We're seeing what's happening in Europe right now. The fall of London, the fall of Paris, the fall of Brussels. These places are constantly under attack. Germany, constantly under attack. People there have to live in fear. And not just from terrorist attacks, but from rape from these migrants coming from these Middle Eastern countries. They're swarming in droves and attacking women, killing people for no reason, throwing Molotov cocktails in the cafeterias, yelling at other people who live in their own countries for not assimilating to their Middle Eastern ways during Ramadan, driving cars through crowds of people, blowing themselves up, shooting at innocent people, going into a concert full of young girls, blowing themselves up. I mean, that is just appalling. And for some reason, the left here in America goes, oh my God, that is so racist. No, it's not. Take your emotions away and let's look at the factual things. The fact that Europe doesn't have a travel ban and they're under attack every day shows you that that's simply not working. Now let's look at other countries that do have travel bans. And this is coming from your own liberal news source, Huffington Post. No, Arab Gulf countries are not taking in refugees. As Western nations have begun making efforts to relocate some of the 9 million Syrian refugees displaced by civil war, critics are questioning whether Arab governments have done their part to help resolve the issue. Well, no, they're not, because they see what's happening in Europe and they don't want that to happen in their country. They're not stupid. It's easy to get emotional. It's easy to have your heartstrings tugged at by propaganda. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away from the TV. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away from the crazy headlines and Rachel Maddow and whatever dumb crap you're listening to and go, hey, let's look at the pros and cons. Let's look at the facts. Let's take a deep breath. Let's drink my caramel mocha latte and tighten up my man bun, because it's, we just need to focus on what's going on. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates have all seen what's going on in Europe and said no to it. No. Other countries are doing it, so why can't we? Why can't we make our country safe from radical Islamic terrorism? Why can't we even prevent these types of people from coming in? Now, it's not a complete and total travel ban, but what we're finding out today is that the Supreme Court is letting the Trump administration mostly enforce its 90-day ban on travelers from the 6 mostly Muslim countries. The action Monday is a victory for Donald Trump and Americans all over the place that see what's going on. The court did leave one category of foreigners protected, those with a credible claim for a bona fide relationship with a person or entity within the United States. So that is the Trump travel ban loophole. If you're coming from one of these states, one of these countries, and you have a credible claim of a bona fide relationship with a person within the United States, and both parties have been vetted, so forth and so on, these people can come in to the United States. So it's not racist to want to save our country. It's not racist to see what's happening in other countries and go, hey, I don't want that to happen here. Separate emotion from fact. Let's focus on the facts. Let's look at what's not working in Europe. Let's look at what's working in other areas, and let's make a good, rational decision for our country, because we don't want our women raped. We don't want female genital mutilation. We don't want a car to drive over us. We don't want to be blown up at a concert. We don't want to be shot down for no reason because we don't have the same values as that country across the pond. This is America. You assimilate or get the F out, Roger. And that's it. There's no other way around it. Stay tuned for more reports at Infowars.com. I'm Joe Biggs.
Well, it has been a victory, this travel ban, victory for President Trump and for people that just want to live in a safe, secure nation. But the GOP has released their newest version of the Senate health care bill. Now, you have Republicans on one side upset about it, but you also have liberals upset about this bill. The liberals are mad because it has cuts to Medicaid, whereas a lot of the Republicans are mad because it's essentially Obamacare light. I mean, there are some penalties as well, just as we've seen with Obamacare for not having consistent health care coverage. The plan actually says that you can be penalized for missing for having a gap in coverage of up to 63 days. And that means that you could actually have to go without health care for 6 months. They could make it so you don't have health care for 6 months, and they can even charge you a 30% increase when you re-enroll in healthcare. Now, I don't see this actually working. I don't see people actually wanting to sign up for this. And many insurers have already made their decisions, letting regulators know whether they're going to participate or not in the marketplace. And a lot of these insurers are already saying that they're going to have a sizable number of rate increases. So you can expect that your rates are still going to be up. There's still going to be some monopolies there. So I don't really see this passing. Some senators like Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Senator Ted Cruz, they've come out, they've spoken out against it. The Republicans do have the majority in the House, but they are very unlikely to get this passed. Now, one thing that's also having the leftists and the Republicans criticize this bill is that it says that they're going to revoke funds on Planned Parenthood, but only for a year. So you have leftists mad that they're going to take away some of those federal funds from Planned Parenthood, but then you have Republicans upset that they're only doing it for a year. So it's interesting to see, but my prediction is that this bill is not going to go very far. It is most likely going to fail. But let's talk a little bit about the Trumps. Let's talk about the Trump family. Apparently, Eric Trump appeared to have a new haircut that massively triggered liberals. They just couldn't handle it. They could not handle his new haircut. They said that his haircut resembled that of white supremacist racists, and he had a racist haircut. Now, how do you have a racist haircut? I guess they were comparing his haircut to that of Richard Spencer, who leftists claim is a racist. Well, what's interesting here is that Eric Trump's haircut is very similar to the haircuts of, let's see, Miley Cyrus had the same haircut, Justin Bieber had the same haircut, Katy Perry had the same haircut, David Beckham had the same haircut. I mean, you've seen so many celebrities and trendies with this haircut. If anything, he made the mistake of getting a trendy haircut, and maybe the trendies are just jealous that they're taking his haircut, taking their haircut, and he's doing it better. I don't know, but it's just pretty ridiculous to see this. They're comparing him to Hitler. Look, he's got Hitler's haircut. Well, so did Miley Cyrus, apparently. Well, now, at the Dyke March, organizers banned the Jewish flag. Okay, this is the Dyke March here. Now, I'm not naming it that. This is what they themselves, the LGBT community, named this march. And apparently, some people were out there with the rainbow flag with a Star of David on top of it. And apparently that triggered some people. And apparently some of these SJWs took offense to the Star of David on a flag. And they said that they actually had to ask the people, I think there were about 3 people that had the Star of David on their rainbow LGBT friendly flag, and they were asked to leave. Now, whatever happened to tolerance? Whatever happened to inclusivity when you're having people leave because you don't like their religion? Now, they released a statement. The Dyke March released a statement apologizing for the incident. Not saying that we made a mistake, we shouldn't have banned these people. No, they said that they're sorry for the incident that had occurred, but they had repeatedly expressed support for Zionism. So we had to make them leave. Well, is that so that they don't offend Muslims? That's the question. Now, a feminist magazine was demanding that white women abort their babies to solve racism. What are we coming to when we have these leftists out there saying that white women need to abort their babies to solve racism so that white people are no longer the majority in the country, so that they can then abort their babies and go help take care of other people's babies? That's what it literally says in this article. So on one hand, we have leftists saying white women need to abort their babies, but then we have conservatives and Republicans saying, let's ban abortion and it's horrible, and let's stop the fact that the majority of abortions that are occurring in the United States are from African Americans, and it needs to stop. So rather than pointing out that Black women should stop aborting their children, they're simply saying white women should have more abortions. It's getting pretty sick, guys. This SJW liberal lunacy is getting really sick, and at least we're seeing victories such as the travel ban. We're seeing victories as well, and hopefully people can get red-pilled. People can wake up to this lunacy like we had just seen at the Red Pill Expo in Montana, where many truth seekers came out to find out about the truth. And that gives you hope right there that more people are interested in learning the truth. You just have to share it. Share the links, guys. Share the links to the site, because you know what? You are going to red pill some people. The word needs to be spread, and we're doing the best we can, guys. So stay tuned, guys, because there are going to be more awesome reports after this short break.
We've taken thousands of years of known research and put it together with our own 4 years of seeking and testing to find the very best systems that God gave us through Mother Nature to detoxify the body. That's why I'm introducing Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical defense support. It's made in the USA. It's filled with known compounds from nature that are absolutely associated with detoxifying the body, and it supports the InfoWar. It is a classical 360 win. Our formula at InfoWarsLife.com is, quite frankly, simple. We go out and look at the recognized research, and we take it to the next level of quality, of purity, and of strength. Because this is what I personally use for myself and my family. We've gone through 5 or 6 different permutations in the last 4 years since we launched Infowars Life to actually come up with this. This is the formula that I personally have been taking for over a year, and now we believe we have come as close to perfection when it comes to a detoxifier as you can possibly get. If you're not mitigating the pesticides, the heavy metals, the chemicals, if you're not trying to purify your water, if you're not trying to take products like Z-Shield that are full of known concentrated compounds that help purify our cells and our bodies, you're crazy. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, and you owe it to the future of this country and the world that patriots stay as healthy and as clean and as focused as you can be, because we need you, the remnant of America, to reignite those brush fires to the next level and to be healthy and as focused as you can be. Because if you're sick, if you're over there on the sidelines and not in the fight, you're basically giving in to the New World Order. Thanks to your support and your prayers, together, we're changing the world. Now it's time to change our bodies with Z-Shield at InfoWarsLife.com.
I want to tell you about some of the products at InfoWarsStore.com. We are under constant attack. You know it by now from the mainstream media. They're trying to attack us on every level. Now with the YouTube scandal, they're demonetizing our channels, which again takes a huge chunk out of our income, which is why we always appreciate and rely on you getting the products, because that's how we stay afloat. They can't get to us that way. They can't pressure you to not buy the products. They don't have that power. And that's why you're the key to this entire operation. We have Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste, bubblegum flavor, just arrived at InfoWarsStore.com. This is by listener request. Bubblegum flavored Super Blue toothpaste now available at InfoWarsStore.com in limited supply. Again, if you're not using fluoride-free toothpaste by now, you're absolutely insane. Harvard studies, it reduces IQ, it causes bone cancer. It's not great, let's just put it that way. And I've been using it for about, what, 15 years now? So you're going to buy it anyway. Why not buy it from us? It's in limited supply, but it is available at InfoWarsStore.com with the new bubblegum flavor Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste, and it supports this network, which is under constant demonization and attack, because we don't take big fat checks from George Soros. We don't get put on extremist lists, even though they want us to. That's how they're taking away the YouTube money. That's why we need your support more than ever, because we're not funded by giant corporations who are now pulling the plug on YouTube as they move it into a TV thing, a Netflix model, to drown out independent voices. So support us by getting the products at InfoWarsStore.com.
Over the weekend, hundreds of truth seekers all over America and even across the world traveled to Bozeman, Montana for the Red Pill Expo. Now, we're going to be interviewing the chairman of the Red Pill Expo, G. Edward Griffin, who happens to be the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island. He's an amazing man, but before we go ahead and interview Edward Griffin, we're going to take a clip and see what happened at the Red Pill Expo. Let's roll this clip.
I've been on Alex's show a good number of times, and you guys just do awesome work, so I'm so happy to be with you.
We're here in Bozeman, Montana at the Red Pill Expo.
We're here in Montana. The air is wonderful.
Can we get a shout out to Infowars? Hello, Infowars!
But just understand that the better solution is not to add a middleman, aka the government, in between you and the person you're trying to help. If you understand that, we as a country will definitely progress.
I don't know what people are waiting for. It was an incredible event.
We were full this time, and we'll be over full next time. So join us here at the Red Pill Expo.
Infowars! Bill Clinton's a rapist! CNN is ISIS!
We've got a lot of our viewers that are converted Alex fans now because they come into it skeptical and we're like, dude, the dude speaks the truth. Swallow it.
Well, you know, this event is essentially about red pilling those who are still taking the blue pill daily, those who are still under the mind control.
Stop parenting other people. Turn off the TV, research for yourself, and find out the truth.
Just shut down your news station because there are a few people here that are Asian, Black, Hispanic, from all over the world.
You have to look outside the box and start educating yourself with alternative media like Infowars.
The first call to action is to get tied into the network. You know, we can't do very much alone.
Any information you're going to get from mainstream media is not the truth. It's as simple as that.
This is Robert Kiyosaki for Infowars.com.
Well, the Red Pill Expo in Bozeman, Montana was a hit. It was so much fun. I know I had a blast, and there were a lot of heavy-hitting speakers that came out and gave amazing lectures. I mean, some of them were just so mind-blowing, and some of them really touched people's hearts. But the local media did try to come out and say that it was an alt-right white supremacist recruitment convention. I mean, I can't even say it because it just sounds so ludicrous. But we are now joined here with Edward Griffin, and he is the man behind this event. Hello, Edward. Thank you for joining us.
Well, hello. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, so Edward, what inspired you to create this event?
Well, I've been in this battle, for truth and to battle against the forces that are taking away our liberties for a long, long time. And I've always been frustrated because everywhere I go, I see people who share my concerns and my desire. But they don't know that there's anyone else out there. They think they're all alone. And I've always felt we needed unity. We needed to get together. We need to know that there's people out there, that we are by far. We look at the television, we see all this violence and all this radicalism out there, and we think, oh my gosh, the country's gone crazy. Well, a part of the country's gone crazy, but that's what the mainstream media pushes forth. Make us think that's the whole country. No, it's not the whole country. We're still by far the majority. And I wanted to bring people together from all walks of life, all points of view, all genders, races, cultures, religions, and break through this trend lately to divide people against each other. We want to bring people together at their common level, their common goal, which is to restore liberty and freedom.
Exactly. And you did such an amazing job at doing that. We've seen people from many different countries, different walks of life, all come together. And I heard from a lot of people there that they were very excited about the fact that they were able to network and socialize with people that are like-minded. So I guess the real question is whenabouts can we expect another Red Pill Expo?
Well, that's been very much on our mind. This is our first one, and when you do the first of anything that's major like this, you're kind of scared. You think, is this going to work or not? But so we were so overwhelmed with the outpouring and the positive response. There's no doubt anymore that we've really hit the bullseye with this. So there's no doubt that there's going to be another one. And of course, we've already made arrangements, so it's almost final now that it'll be this time, the middle or just toward the end of June next year. But that's not enough. We don't want to just do this once a year. We want to continue this momentum and continue this flow of information. And so we have launched right now, just this very week, we launched something called the Red Pill University. Now, that's more or less what we're doing at the Expo, except we want to continue it in cyberspace. We're creating now a true open university where our faculty, some people would call them our speakers, but they're more than just speakers. These are wise people. They're usually people with firsthand experience, and they've got something to teach. It's not just how well they can speak, but what they've got to say. And so we call them faculty. And the Red Pill University is the kind of place that the original universities were, centuries ago in the Roman and the Greek Empire. In those periods, universities formed just by some wise person gathering students around him. They would meet every day or every other day or so, and they'd talk about things, and they'd ask the master, well, what about this? What about that? That's how the university concept began. So we're going to continue in that tradition. It's an open university. We call it the Red Pill University. And I hope any of your readers that want to sort of check it out will go on to the internet and look it up. It's called, you'll find it at the redpillexpo.org. And very soon, we'll have, if not already, you'll find it at redpilluniversity.org. But either one of those places will get you there. And if you want to get signed up and see everything that we did actually at the Red Pill Expo here in Bozeman, it's all been recorded and it's being prepared as we speak. And I think in maybe about 3 weeks, we'll have it ready to broadcast on the internet. And if you want to see this broadcast entirely free, just let us know and send us your email, and we'll notify you of the dates and times where the entire Red Pill Expo, as we saw it here in Bozeman, the 2-day event, will be broadcast.
And where can they send you an email?
Well, to me personally, actually either one of those sites, I monitor them completely. And if there isn't now, there will be, thanks to your question, there will be a place where you can ask questions, and we'll respond to them.
Well, I did find it very refreshing that at the Red Pill Expo, the speakers were not only conservatives. We also saw some more like classic liberals, libertarians, people with differing opinions. And I think college kids are starving for that because of what we've seen, where speakers like Ann Coulter was barred from Berkeley because the risk of violent riots because of the Antifa. So what do you think about some of these people that are trying to shut down speech?
Well, these are the very people that were arguing for free speech a little while ago because there was a pushback against speakers of their view. In other words, these people are trying to shut down free speech, feel that they're the only ones that are entitled to free speech. In other words, they want a monopoly on the kind of information that people are getting. They want to control the debate. They want to be the ones that write the questions that are put up to the speakers. So the speakers always are just answering their questions and so forth. And the reason for that, in my view, is that they cannot stand the light of cross-examination. If somebody has an opposing point of view and they have good logical reasons for opposing their point of view, they're not prepared to defend themselves. And so they have to throw names at people. It's an old trick. It's nothing new. For as long as I can remember, and I've looked back in quite a few segments of history where the same thing has happened. If somebody cannot defeat their opponent's arguments with logic or historical evidence, they start calling them names.
That's right, and they call them names like racist, bigot, redneck, and we've seen it. We've seen it all happening, as well as the local media in Montana calling everyone at that convention a bunch of alt-right white supremacists out to recruit people. Well, it has been great talking to you, Edward, but we are running out of time. All in all, the Red Pill Expo was definitely a success, and I would like to thank you so much, Edward, for putting on such an amazing event. I know I had a great time. Well, you guys, that includes our interview with Edward Griffin.
Electrify your day with Secret 12. It's like lightning in a bottle. We all have days in which we just can't seem to perform at the level we'd like to. Infowars Life's Secret 12 is designed to naturally energize your body and mind with 2 great tasting and super high quality forms of vitamin B12. Proper vitamin and nutrient intake is essential to keep your body functioning at optimum levels. The reality is, it's hard to take in the proper amount of vitamins we need each day with our modern diets. Secret 12 by Infowars Life is an easy way to naturally essentially upgrade your vitamin B12 intake and support your body's natural systems. It pairs 2 forms of vitamin B12 into one explosive formula. Vitamin B12 supports healthy energy levels through red blood cell formation and aiding in the body's natural processes, but it also assists with many other functions of the body. Electrify your mind and body and take your health to the next level. Experience the power of Secret 12 at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Vitamin Mineral Fusion. Visit InfoWarsLife.com to secure your canister. We have worked for years with our chemists and scientists to create the most powerful and affordable, great-tasting multivitamin formula available. Vitamin Mineral Fusion Drink Mix at InfoWarsLife.com is loaded with a full month's supply of essential vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that your body absolutely needs. In the history of InfoWars Life, we've brought out a lot of amazing products like Survival Shield X2, Super Male Vitality, and so many others. With its unique delivery system and proprietary manufacturing process designed for maximized effects, this formula is the platinum standard of multivitamin mineral products. And this part is most important. The ingredients in Vitamin Mineral Fusion are either plant-derived or of the highest quality lab standard. That means it's clean. That means it's pure. And rest assured, you're fighting the tip of the spear in the info war. That's InfoWarsLife.com and Vitamin Mineral Fusion. Take action now before we sell out. We have the new product at InfoWarsLife.com, BioTrue Selenium.
We've had so many requests over the years for selenium, and just recently, we were able to source a certified organic, bioavailable selenium from mustard seed extract. When you take selenium in the body, it actually benefits the detoxification systems in your body. It helps balance the thyroid gland. It helps detoxify.
Selenium is another one of those absolute must-haves.
The highest concentration of selenium is in the thyroid gland, but it's actually used all over the body. As a matter of fact, there's 25 genes in the body that are directly dependent upon selenium. So it really is a all-around nutrient that everybody really needs.
I'm taking it now every day. This is so key. BioTrue Selenium is the product, the best selenium that we could bring you. We believe it's the best out there at a very, very low price. Exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make, we fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The book is The Plot to Scapegoat Russia. We're talking to the author, Dan Kovalik. And this is, I think, a book that its time has come. As Oliver Stone said, it's a powerful contradiction to the present U.S. narrative of the world. As shown here, fake news is thriving in Washington, D.C. And we have a lot to cover here. I read most of this book, and I've got to say, Mr. Kovalik, that there were some things about Putin's Russia that I did not know that I think are very important for the audience to know as well when we take a look at this. But as someone who is I guess I would call you the opposite of what we see now, the neo-libs. We've got neocons who are conservatives who do nothing but push war. And I guess we've now seen with this election here a new class of individuals called neo-libs, people unlike Oliver Stone, the traditional liberals who would say, hey, let's give peace a chance. There were always in the past, liberals were opposed to wars, but now they are embracing the Russian restart, the Cold War, and they are pushing a narrative that I think is incredibly reckless. And I believe that many people on the left believe that as well. People like you, people like Oliver Stone, would hate to see us pushing ourselves to the brink of another Cold War and perhaps nuclear disaster.
Exactly. And as you say, it's interesting. There's kind of been this
almost switch where, as you say, liberals who would tend to be against war seem to be embracing it, at least when it comes to Russia. And that's why I wrote the book. I mean, as you pointed out, myself and Oliver Stone, we come from the left, and we oppose war when the Republicans do it. We oppose it when the Democrats do it. It's called having principles.
Yeah, and we have people like that on both sides. We got Ron Paul, who is that way.
Absolutely.
We have Dennis Kucinich, who is that way. We have people who were a part of the Reagan administration, Paul Craig Roberts and Matlock and others, who were not anti-Russian, who were not pro-war. They were against the Soviet Union, and they did not want to continue down this road that we have seen coming, in the latest, in this last year.
Yeah, and in fact, as you note, the Reaganites is the two you mentioned, Matlock and Paul Craig Roberts. The Reaganites may be the most disappointed about the current confrontation with Russia. They were proud that Ronald Reagan, along with Mikhail Gorbachev, negotiated an end to the Cold War, and they did so peacefully.
Yes.
And
yes,
now
exactly.
they're scratching their heads as to why we need to engage in a new confrontation.
And I think it's interesting. We've seen just in the last couple of days, we're starting to see this Russian narrative really fall apart for the Democrats, fall apart for the mainstream media. We've had CNN come out and do this retraction. Of course, we had New York Times has done several of those recently. And now CNN is putting restrictions on, saying you're not going to talk about Russia without getting a vice president's approval. So that's a very unusual move for them to take. We've also got the Democrat Party saying we need to push our leaders to talk about something other than Russia. They're out of touch with what the people are looking for. So it's very clear as we look at this, as CNN is even stonewalling its own reporter when he asks questions about this fake Russia story. Zucker is not giving any answers. So I think it's very clear they realize that they've jumped the shark here. But let's take a look at some of the things that you point out in your book. I think one of the things that was interesting, we talked about fake news and propaganda. Who are the masters of this? Who is really effective in terms of propaganda? On the Western side, as you point out, we got Hollywood, we got rock and roll, we got blue jeans, McDonald's, Starbucks. We've got ABC, CBS, NBC, NPR, CNN, Fox News. What do they have on the other side? RT. I mean, this is kind of a lump-sided narrative here. I mean, what are we afraid of?
Well, exactly. And RT at least is honest about what it is. RT stands for Russia Today. People know what it is. If they're interested in it, they can watch it. If they're not, they don't have to. I mean, the idea that somehow we're being outgunned by the Russians in terms of propaganda is just a joke. And in fact,
you pointed out in your book, you pointed out in your book about NPR saying, hey, we got to have Voice of America. Many of us on the right were very alarmed when they repealed the Smith-Mundt Act, which would prohibit these propaganda outlets that had been created at the height of the Cold War, would prohibit them from operating here in the United States. We thought NPR was more than enough. And now then NPR is pushing the need for Voice of America. So there's many of us on the right who don't want to see this kind of mindless pro-government propaganda.
No, exactly. And I'm concerned. So I would be a person who I listen to NPR daily, mostly as a habit. And as we know, many habits are not good for you. I don't know why I do anymore. But every day they hammer about Russia. And every day they hammer about Venezuela. Those are their two bugaboos. Do we hear about Saudi Arabia? Do we hear about Saudi Arabia in Yemen? What they're doing with U.S. support, which is putting millions at jeopardy.
That's right.
Do we?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And they give that a pass. They give the atrocities that are happening in Saudi Arabia a complete pass, and are not really opposing. You would think that they would just oppose anything that Donald Trump does, but not when it comes to the military-industrial complex. If he wants to give a massive military contract to Saudi Arabia, they're not going to oppose that.
Yeah, it's incredible. He just gave a $110 billion contract to the Saudis. Yeah. You heard no protest, virtually no protest. Again, this war in Yemen is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. You would never know that from places like NPR. You would never know it even from the New York Times. So what is going on here? I mean, as I point out in my book, I think one of the problems is the people who we usually counted on for being peaceniks, again, those in the liberal to left sphere, they ceded that ground under Obama. I mean, they didn't protest when he destroyed Libya. Yes. They didn't protest when he doubled down on Iraq and Afghanistan, or when he meddled himself into Syria. And so once Trump comes into power, they really have no moral high ground to challenge it when he's in power. So the only thing that Trump is credited for being presidential with is his bombing of Syria with 59 Tomahawk missiles. That's being presidential, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they love that. They absolutely love that, didn't they?
And yeah, it's crazy. And by the way, did you see the Seymour Hersh article, which Cy Hersh, who won the Pulitzer, he can't even write in the U.S. anymore, or London. He's getting farther and farther from our shores. He's in Germany now writing that the U.S.
We fought very hard back in 2013 against the narrative that was being used at the time by the Obama administration to say that this was a sarin gas attack at that time. And because of that, we had to have American intervention. We pointed out at the time, we said, that's not clear from the evidence. We need to stop and wait. And this time, they didn't even wait that long. They shot from the hip into Syria, saying that it was a sarin gas attack. And now Seymour Hersh is pointing out, well, no, it's not. It's actually the same playbook that we keep seeing over and over again from those who are part of the national security apparatus who are pushing for constant war, constant regime change.
Yeah, so what Seymour Hersh is now saying is that the military who informed Trump knew darn well that there was no sarin gas attack from the Russians or Syrians earlier this year, that in fact the raid that happened by the Syrians was told to by the U.S. before it happened. Chemical weapons weren't involved, and therefore something else happened. But it was not them who carried out this chemical attack. Maybe they accidentally hit some of the rebels' chemical stores or whatever. But Trump even knew before he spent $59 million on 59 Tomahawk missiles that it wasn't the Russians or Syrians. And yet Seymour Hersh, who's won the Pulitzer Prize, he has no voice in this country anymore. I mean, people with any opposition have no voice. And you mentioned Oliver Stone earlier. He's been very supportive of my book. He, of course, put out the Putin interviews. He has been absolutely vilified in the media.
Yes. And I think it's very interesting, too, that when he did the Putin interviews, one of the things that he said at the time, because Bernie Sanders was running and Oliver Stone on the left liked Bernie Sanders, so he goes, what do you think of Bernie Sanders? You think he can really change things in the U.S.? And Putin said, well, I'm not going to say one way or the other, but he goes, let me explain to you how power works. There's this entrenched deep state, essentially, and it's going to protect its interest regardless of who becomes president. Very prophetic. I think it's also very understandable in terms of even what's going on in Russia. We understand there's these massive bureaucracies that have a life of their own. And we got to take a quick break here for the nightly news because we've got a limit of a 10-minute segment here. But we're going to continue this interview for the Alex Jones channel. You'll be able to see this full interview. And we want to talk when we come back about what really happened with the Clintons in Russia, what they did to Russia with Boris Yeltsin. It was worse than the Great Depression in America. That's something I did not know that you explained to me. We'll be right back.
Alex Jones here with a very important news update to anybody out there that wants to be prepared. But it goes beyond being prepared. Our bodies absolutely must have the good halogen iodine or we will die. And you look at all of the thyroid problems and all the people that don't have energy and that have all sorts of hormone problems. And from my research, and a lot of just mainline research, it leads back to iodine over and over and over again. It's as important as vitamin C. If you don't get iodine, you die. But most people are just deficient, so they're low energy, they're sick. You got to have iodine in your body so that your body can produce the hormones you need. It is the base to so many things. And since I got into iodine 4 years ago, we've helped change the entire paradigm by developing and bringing to the public deep earth crystals from 7,000 to 12,000 feet of the purest iodine available. Other iodine comes from the ocean or from other byproducts of chemical facilities, and it's tainted. It's bound. It's not absorbable. I tried it. And I had incredible effects even with dirty iodine because the body needs it. When you don't have iodine, it absorbs the chlorine, the fluoride, and all these other bad halogens. do yourself and your family a favor and check out the importance of iodine for yourself. I think you're going to be blown away. And whatever you do, support the broadcast and get a bottle of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2. Also consult your physician, because if you've been deficient in it or have other issues, it can have some dramatic effects. As for me and most folks I talk to, it's been a game changer in the positive column, but still consult your physician, because iodine is no joke. It's a key building block of the body. And if you haven't had it for a long time and suddenly have it, some folks say they've experienced things like a detoxing effect and things like that. You've got to have vitamin C. You've got to have iodine to live. You've got to have water to live. Iodine is key. You must have it, but consult your physician first before you get powerful Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2 at InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free. We can answer your questions, 888-253-3139.
Former President Obama continues to do the dirty work of George Soros and the United Nations just 2 miles away from the White House, continuing to take his community organizer presidency into the hearts and minds of America. The Organize for Action site reads, with more than 250 local chapters around the country, OFA volunteers are building this organization from the ground up, community by community, one conversation at a time, whether that's on a front porch or on Facebook. We are committed to finding and training the next generation of great progressive organizers, because at the end of the day, we aren't the first to fight for progressive change, and we won't be the last. The site reads. Meanwhile, the trail leading to the genesis of the fictional narrative of the Trump-Russia collusion plaguing the agenda of the Trump administration has finally turned up in Obama and Hillary Clinton's backyards. The New York Post reports the Senate Judiciary Committee earlier this month threatened to subpoena the firm, Fusion GPS, after it refused to answer questions and provide records to the panel identifying who financed the error-ridden dossier, which was circulated during the election and has sparked much of the Russia scandal now engulfing the White House. Fusion GPS was on the payroll of an unidentified Democratic ally of Clinton when it hired a long-retired British spy to dig up dirt on Trump. In 2012, Democrats hired Fusion GPS to uncover dirt on GOP presidential nominee Mitt Romney. More, federal records show a key co-founder and partner in the firm was a Hillary Clinton donor and supporter of her presidential campaign. In September 2016, while Fusion GPS was quietly shopping the dirty dossier on Trump around Washington, its co-founder and partner Peter R. Fritsch contributed at least $1,000 to the Hillary Victory Fund and the Hillary for America campaign. FEC data shows. His wife also donated money to Hillary's campaign.
The Clinton campaign at the time was using all kinds of euphemisms, security review, matters, things like that for what was going on. We were getting to a place where the Attorney General and I were both going to have to testify and talk publicly about it. And I wanted to know, was she going to authorize us to confirm we had an investigation? And she said, yes, but don't call it that, call it a matter. And I said, why would I do that? And she said, just call it a matter. And again, you look back in hindsight, you think, should I have resisted harder? I just said, all right, this isn't a hill worth dying on. And so I just said, okay, the press is going to completely ignore it.
The press is going to completely ignore it. What the Winocrats were afraid of is just around the corner. The State Department just opened a formal inquiry into Hillary Clinton's mishandling of classified information, and former Attorney General Loretta Lynch will face questions surrounding her manipulation of the FBI probe into Hillary's emails. Senators on the Judiciary Committee want to know if Lynch assured former DNC Chair Wasserman Schultz that the FBI probe would go away, while Schultz led a sinister backstabbing operation against Bernie Sanders. Nothing lasts forever, Winocrats, especially when that house of cards is all built on lies.
There are few things that break faith with America and the American people and undermine their trust in their government more than witnessing the highest law enforcement officer in the land blatantly ignoring the crystal clear meaning and equal protection and equal enforcement of the laws as they are written. And Madam Attorney General, I think such an abrogation of your official duties and responsibilities, not just a matter of what will be written writ large in the annals of your own legacy, it's something rather that goes to the very heart of the rule of law in a republic that so many lying out in Arlington National Cemetery have died to keep.
John Bound for Infowars.com.
globalists who've hijacked our country, hijacked Europe, hijacked Latin America, hijacked Africa, hijacked Eastern Europe, hijacked Russia, hijacked the Middle East, are in total, complete, absolute freak-out mode. They burned through 35 million on the special elections, and that was just the party, not just their PACs. Unbelievable. And so how do they respond? Being spoiled brat, wannabe elitists who are part of a cult of power, who believe that they're sitting on top of the bitter clingers and that they control, you know, the Christians and the patriots. And I guess they do. They have our children in their clutches. They brainwash them. They force inoculate them. But the sleeping giant is awakening to what they're doing. So they're trying to cling on to the host. The parasites are in a desperate, insane panic. MSNBC's Brzezinski, Trump is developing a dictatorship, must be stopped.
Bad for the country. This is unprecedented to have a president that behaves this way. Can anyone go back in history?
Well, you asked John Meacham yesterday.
And I tried.
He went back to 4.
He stretched as best he could to Nixon, and then we had to move outside the United States of America to find a parallel, and I believe it was North Korea.
I can't wait to hear what Casey Hunt has to say once we read the news on. This is great.
It does feel like a developing dictatorship.
Connecticut campus shut as professor flees following "let them effing die" tweet, directing students to begin killing right-wingers and Trump supporters and all bigots, saying smile a bit as you kill them and as you murder them. More and more campuses are just totally having to shut because of mass total mental illness.
What about the racism?
What about the racism?
Yeah,
I mean, everything.
How do you explain the racism?
He was endorsed by the KKK. Like, how
okay, he was endorsed by the
any person
KKK.
who's the KKK is like, this is my guy.
Do you realize Hillary Clinton's mentor was Robert Byrd? That's just a joke to you.
Is what a joke?
Today, our country has lost American original, my friend and mentor, Robert C. Byrd. Senator Byrd was a man of surpassing eloquence and nobility.
Unbelievable. These are re-education camps, but they've been contained. They're designed to be culture bombs. They're designed to be social disruptor systems. That's all declassified. But if you contain them, if you contain the weapon system and it can't replicate, it degrades and implodes on itself. And they're going through a degrade implosion right now. We're having devastating victories. Devastating. We're devastating the enemy worldwide. They may set off a nuke in D.C. They may release a bioweapon, though. Soros and the globalists are very wicked. Do not underestimate them. But even if that happens, the survivors will dig them out of their bunkers. We will dig you out of your bunkers, no matter where you go, globalists, even if you release the bioweapon. We're fully aware of your plans.
I continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan.
The military is fully aware of your operations. You're all right now in the sights, and you know it, don't you, globalist? Yeah, this is a two-way street, baby, and you've now shown yourself. Just keep showing yourself, keep burning yourself down. And you have no idea. That goes for David Brock and all the rest of these people about, we're aware of their operations, we're aware of their productions, we're aware of all the different things they're up to, and now the doctors, the scientists, the engineers, the surgeons have got their scalpels and their sutures and their instruments out, and they're just deciding right now over the patient how much has to get cut out. And can the patient even live? But I will assure you, in that process of that delicate surgery, that you're going to get everything your evil little butts ever wanted. And you guys are sowing the wind. And you know what happens then? You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. Nebraska Democratic official ousted for allegedly wishing Steve Scalise to die. They are fawning, they are frothing, they are foaming. Trump 2 days ago said, Congressman Scalise, our prayers go to him and the police officers and others that were shot. Boo, no, we'll be dying. Ah!
Well, that concludes the nightly news for tonight. So tune in tomorrow, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central for the Infowars Nightly News.
No one will go to the New York Times or care that it's even admitted that the government's hatching most of the terror plots. Or people will say, what are you doing? Endorsing radical Islam, saying it doesn't exist? I didn't say that. I said our criminal government is arming them, aiding and abetting them, protecting them to attack and kill us so they can take our freedoms. That's what I said.
Never water yourself down just because someone can't handle you at 100 proof. It's the Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Glenn Beck, and everybody else that runs around claiming that I'm saying there aren't any real Muslim terrorists. That's a load of crud, and you know it. I am very proud to announce the introduction of the highest quality Infowars Biome Defense probiotic. We wanted to come out with the largest spectrum of high-quality, known probiotics that have been proven to improve overall digestion and health and detoxification in the body. Biome Defense is an exclusive blend of 50 billion live and active cultures from over 23 different probiotic strains that are known to support digestion and intestinal function. Our researchers are confident that we have been able to develop what will be the leading probiotic on the market. Secure your Biome Defense in ultra strength or regular strength at InfoWarsLife.com today and get started supporting your digestive system naturally. We've been testing this formula for years, but this is the limited first run to the public, so please take advantage of it today. Support your own health and support the InfoWar.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. Today is Monday, June 26, 2017. I'm Millie Weaver, and here's what's coming up on the news tonight.
Tonight, the Trump administration celebrates another major victory against the liberal progressives as the Supreme Court unanimously rules in favor of the travel ban. Then, the loony left continues to showcase their insanity. First, a popular feminist magazine calls for white women to solve racism and white supremacy by aborting their babies.
Kill Whitey!
And the Huffington Post says Eric Trump's new haircut is racist. All that plus a close look at the real relationship between President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. That's up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. The key is to be aware of this attack and to fight back against it. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs harvested around the planet and then concentrated for maximum potency. I've always believed in nutrition and herbs. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by Infowars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended